Well, this is not your great grandfather's Republican, ladies and gentlemen. Unlike most of the political ads we're so used to watching from the GOP over the years, we have got a contender in the name of Kimberly Klacik, who's running for Maryland's 7th District. And I just want to join the bandwagon of people, along with Stephen Scott here, who have said this is probably the best political ad they may have seen in their entire lives, certainly in the last 20 or 30 years. She did a number. We're just going to take a couple of quick highlights from the one that we like the most, the second one, and then we'll tell you why this is the best political ad ever and why the game is changing and why the Black Tower at Mordor is about to fall.
9 out of 10 Black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school to prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children.
Let's leave Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better.
Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of Black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our Black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change.
I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.
Scott, I hate to tell tales after school, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's my job. Just before we went on, I sent you the link to this video. I saw you watch it, and you're starting to get a little misty-eyed there. Kimberly doesn't just talk about having a plan, and as we talked about on our backstage show, she doesn't just walk through Baltimore and show you what a living hell it's become. She walks through Baltimore, and as she walks through Baltimore, Baltimore becomes rejuvenated. Reminds me of that story that Donald Trump took to, I don't know if it was actually true, but it was reported that he took Kim Jong-un a video of what Pyongyang could be using computer graphics if you decided to join the rest of the world. What do you think of the ad, and what do you think of this Republican?
I had previously seen the first ad, and I'll refer to that as the red dress ad, because in the first ad, she's wearing a red dress and red high heel shoes. In the second ad, she's wearing a white dress and white high heel shoes. At least initially, it's all white, and then later it becomes very red. But I thought it was a terrific first ad, but that was, in hindsight, all of the negative. It was, here's what Democrats have done to Baltimore and other American cities, and I promise some hope. But then the genius of it is really the follow-through ad on the second one to come through and show you what it could look like. Because when you're talking about what's happened to children where, 9 out of 10 boys can't read at grade level, and there are like a dozen schools in Baltimore where they don't have a single student who's
of any kind, proficient in math,
who's proficient in mathematics. So that I was crying at that point, literally, because of just the tragedy and seeing the decay and the garbage and what they're doing to children. And then when the whole thing kind of turns and she shows a transformed, renewed, vibrant, and vital and prosperous Baltimore, I was just thinking, my God, that's right. That's what this is about. We are the happiness people. We are the prosperity people. We are the progressives, so to speak. We are the ones who are for societal progress in the sense of giving people the opportunity to be able to chase their dreams. And my only complaint about the entire ad, which I voiced as I was watching it, was this woman doesn't need to run for Congress. She needs to run for mayor of Baltimore. And then maybe later president of the United States.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Because it's not enough to put her as one of 435 people who are fighting for the scraps of federal taxpayer dollars or tax breaks. But she could really make a difference with that kind of attitude. And I hope a lot of Republicans, we have a candidate in our area running for something. Her name is Genevieve Collins, who's got a similar kind of approach to the ad, although not with nearly the punch of this one. But I hope more and more Republicans will start looking at this and say, look, it's not enough to just brand your opponent as a Nancy Pelosi liberal. You need to show a sense of hope, a sense of direction, a sense of movement, a sense of a future that we want to be part of, a city that could be great again.
Yeah, all of the messaging stuff that I deal with because I was just trained as a filmmaker and as a visual storyteller, and she's doing the number one. The first thing they tell you, she's showing you. She's not telling you. She's showing you. Look, see this building that used to have graffiti on it? Now it's a store. Now it's this, and now this is this, and this. It's brilliant. Scott, just a quick follow up. What did you think about the idea that she's not running to Congress so that she can bring home the bacon from Washington? She says she's in favor of tax breaks and then getting incentives so that businesses will move in there, invest in the community, invest in the people that'll be working in these stores. It is a ground up kind of a movement.
Yeah. Now, of course, to a Democrat, what she described, tax cuts are a form of spending. So they consider that to be waste because you're spending government money that you don't have yet. By offering tax incentives. But yeah, if you want businesses to move into a high risk situation, those pioneers that are first moving into that district need to have some incentive to compensate for the substantial risk they're taking as the trailblazers. And so to be able to say, yes, let's set up some opportunity zones in conjunction with local municipalities, the cities and the counties around these places, and let's make it possible once again for seeds to grow through the hard pavement of that bleak landscape. And I think that that's exactly the right approach if you're going to run for Congress. Again, Kim, please run for mayor.
Yeah.
Run for Congress and then work your way up. Don't ever do the same job twice. You go all the way, young lady. You are the real deal. All right, Steve, you ready to take this to an entirely higher level? Let's move into the world of Sun Tzu, the great Chinese military philosopher, who said that the ultimate form of mastery is swordlessness, is the idea that you could walk into the enemy's camp without a weapon and defeat them by using their weapons. It is swordlessness. I do not need a sword to defeat you. I will use your sword to defeat you. She starts off this thing by saying Black Lives Matter. On her tweet that puts this thing out, she says, they've done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. We are the change. She's gone right into the Democratic camp and has taken their swords and is using them against them in a way I have never seen in politics. And coming from a Republican, it's enough to make my shriveled gray heart, just one size or two size larger at Christmas.
Yeah, you got to break that special heart measuring device, like the Grinch did.
That's right.
What I love that she's done here, Bill, is there's a theme that runs through both ads, but especially in the first one, that isn't explicit. It's the subtext, and it's accountability. She is showing her own constituents that you haven't held your leadership accountable, and this is how they've treated you. All of those tax dollars, everything it's gone to waste. And she does it, and this is the beautiful part. She does it with their language. I don't mean them city dwellers. I mean the Democrats' language, and it's absolutely brilliant. She could have done the typical Republican thing. I got to be critical of my own side, which is, Well, New York was in a similar position in the 1970s and 80s, and Rudy Giuliani came along with his broken windows policing and blah, blah, blah. And you really don't want to bring Rudy Giuliani into this. Not at all. And I respect the hell out of Rudy. But when you have this young, attractive candidate who speaks the language not only of her constituents, but of her opponents, you don't want to bring in Rudy Giuliani, who is, cranky and 6 days older than God. It kind of takes away from the whole message that you're trying to send, that we're not your fathers, grandfathers, whatever, how many generations back Republicans. And to sell this message of accountability with her sunny disposition and her I'm not even sure what the word I'm looking for is, but if you've seen her interviewed, you see a young lady who is not just on the script in these ads. This is her, or at least she's developed a political personal persona so strong that it effectively...
No, it's really her. Yeah. She's just a little rough around the edges, just enough to be not look like a professional. Yeah,
everything about her in these ads says, I'm you and I expect better. Shouldn't you expect better? And I love this message. We need to clone 100 of her to run for mayor of the 100 biggest cities in this country.
Or president.
Well, baby steps, but quick, rapid.
No,
baby
president
steps.
Immediately. You got to go right to the top. And why waste time on the fundamentals, which I will get to in just a moment. No, this is a remarkable ad, and it's remarkably well done, and it's selling optimism. It's using the language that has been used to keep Baltimore as a sewer, and she's using it against them. And what's more, I think, much more important is that she may not even be completely fully aware of this on a national level. I'm not trying to talk her down in any way, but nothing but the highest regard for her. But what she's doing with her advertisement for the 7th District of Maryland is actually going directly at the third rail of Democratic power in this country, and that is that they're the ones that care about Black people, and Republicans are the racists who will make things just much, much worse for you. She is walking through what used to be one of the greatest cities in America and has become an absolute walking nightmare, and she is showing you not only that things have gotten this bad, but also that they can become better again. We're not stuck with this. This is not destiny. And the final thing she says is, Baltimore does not have to vote Democrat. My God, that is on point as it gets. Now, just for my elaborate close here, I happen to be in the middle of doing a 7-part series on America's Forgotten Heroes, and the script that I'm working on at the moment is on Booker T. Washington, who should be on our money. Yes. Actually, that's not quite fair to say. He should have been on our money back when it was money. Now. You could put Nancy Pelosi on what we're calling the money. But Booker T. Washington was despised by intellectuals of both colors because Booker T. Washington not only understood but insisted that everything was connected and that you cannot start from the top down. You have to start from the bottom up, that you've got to get the fundamentals right. If in the great debate with W.E.B. Du Bois would be the guy who would be saying things like, show me your most amazing slam dunk off a trampoline. And Booker T. Washington would be the coach that would just be running layups and running layups and running layups and passing drills and passing drills and passing drills. What she is doing here is so much like what Booker T. Washington not only talked about, but actually achieved. He made sure that his students worked on the farm so that they would have their own vegetables. He made sure that excellence was the number one commodity. He made sure that they ate on time, that they used their toothbrushes, that he made sure that they were good people. He said, one of the many things he said is, we should not only despise labor, we should be proud of it. We should love it. And he said, we shouldn't just make a man into a carpenter. We should also make a carpenter into a man. And that kind of attitude is precisely what brought so many people up from slavery, as in the title of his autobiography, which is one of the most amazing books I've ever read in my life. If every person in America read Up from Slavery in 4th grade, our problems would be over. Baltimore would be a garden, and Kimberly Klacik has got precisely the correct attitude. Let's start with the fundamentals. Let's get this place cleaned up. Let's clean this city up like real people live here so that we're not ashamed of it, so that people won't be ashamed to move in here with their businesses places. Let's hire local people. Let's get this place back to what it used to be. I just think the world of her. I think she's got a tremendous message. I don't know who put the ad together, but I'm absolutely certain that it was Kimberly who had the vision for it and who is absolutely determined to get what she wanted out of it. And I think I certainly agree with Scott and Steve. I think she's got not only a tremendous future in Baltimore. I think people like this are needed all across the country, and let 1,000 flowers bloom, because Kimberly, you've warmed this old stone cold heart. I mean, you really have. This is how it's done. You go in there, you take their sword from them, you use it against them, and you show them that, exactly as Scott said, we are the party of happiness and the party of brotherhood. We're the party of success, prosperity, clean streets, orderly neighborhoods, no murders, no drug dealing, because you don't have to. Because there's a better way to live. And we lived that way before, and we can live that way again. Booker T. Washington would be very, very proud of you, Kimberly Klacik. And certainly the three of us are as well. That'll do it for this edition of Right Angle, made possible by the members at BillWhittle.com. If you'd like to be one of the people keeping these messages coming, go and hit the big green Become a Member button and help us get this message out there, because they cost money, and that's how capitalism works. And freedom, too, for that matter. We'll see you next week on Right Angle.